Well, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and I'm excited to share with you soul-driven strategies to help you succeed in your business and your life. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how you can combine different modalities and types of business with a coaching business. When I first started my business as a coach, I had the idea that there was only one way to structure a coaching business, pure coaching for life or business or relationships. I found, though, that coaching is a modality that can be combined with just about anything. That's what we're going to explore today, just about anything. I personally have combined my coaching with my love of writing and speaking. I have had iterations of my business where I've been a teacher, a mentor, a consultant. I have also combined being an ordained minister with coaching. That's been one of my favorite ways. And I've written two books that have coaching philosophy embedded in them. So there's a way you can actually combine coaching with things that are actually not talking to people. When working with coaches
Mm.
in my business academy, I have been amazed at how unique a coaching business can be when married or matched with other types of services. To help me explore this topic today is a coach who has another business she's passionate about besides her coaching. And together we are going to explore her two businesses and look at how they come together. We're also going to look at other ways to mix and match a coaching business, which I hope will spark your own passions and inspire you to think in new ways about your coaching career.
Mm.
My guest today, and here I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Judy Shevelev. She's a certified coach. She's also an International Association of Animal Behavior consultant. That she has a positive reinforce. She's a positive reinforcement dog trainer. I love that. She's been coaching people for 3 years. So she's coaching people and training dogs and their people professionally for 15 years. Her dog training practice has also focused on teaching people how to train and manage their dogs. However, she is now purposefully using her coaching skills as she works with people and their dogs so that people become more aware of how they influence their dog's behavior. They gain new insights, which motivates them to take the appropriate steps to strike a balance between their needs and their dog's needs. This helps them better understand how they communicate, and ultimately, it strengthens that bond with their dogs. In addition, she coaches clients who deeply love their pets of any kind and have goals they want to achieve to lead a more joyous life. She uses mindfulness techniques and the bond with their pet in a variety of ways to give them the courage to move forward towards their goals. As a lifelong animal lover and pet guardian, I love that. Judy knows firsthand how powerful the bond we have with our pets truly is. Her pets also have been her greatest teachers, and she is passionate about supporting her clients so that they can open themselves to receiving the wisdom their pets offer. Welcome
Mm.
to the show, Judy. Yeah.
Thank you, Kat. I'm so happy to be here.
It's so cool when I, kind of looking over all that you offer that I just talked about, that I just spoke about. There's a whole lot in there, and I want to dive down into it and kind of unpack some of it so we can bring that, your experience and your wisdom to our listeners. But before we do that, one thing I love to ask my guests, because I'm personally curious, that's what I figure
Mhm.
my listeners are, is like, what brought you to coaching? Just a little bit about, how that got on your radar, and yeah, what
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's the long story and the short story, but my mother was a psychotherapist.
Okay.
So I have been raised on processing my feelings, being open, had a lot of therapy myself. And in a way, I think as we get older, some of those things become more important.
Yes, I would
And
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I had a career first in international relations. I didn't even
Mhm.
mention that in what I said to you, but it has evolved to really working with people and their emotions and facilitating experiences and then
Mhm.
bringing the dogs into it as well. And so there came a point where I was feeling that the dog training, there was something not completely satisfying about it. And I was beginning to realize that the dogs were a medium for me to connect with people, and that the
Cool.
connections with the
That's so
people
cool.
was the most important thing to me.
I kind of picked that up when I was, doing this intro. Like that really stood out to me. No, like, okay, so the connection with the people, even here, this is a whole separate training you're doing, but this people connection is like at the heart of it for you.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's really important. And what makes a perfect session for me with a client is going to a beautiful place. So, maybe it's
Mm.
an outdoor space, or maybe it's their garden, or maybe it's just a really nice house, aesthetically pleasing, comfortable, a dog that's fun to work with, and a
Mhm.
client, a person who is open, who's willing to work hard, who's committed, who loves their dog, and open to sharing, making themselves a little vulnerable as well.
That so strikes me as you say that, because you're really speaking, and we're going to connect some dots here for you and for the people listening. You're really speaking to the heart of what makes coaching effective, right? People need to be open. And there's so many other ways and places and experiences in life where that's important. And I think, Judy, that a lot of people don't necessarily see that. So I would imagine, I'm
Yes.
just kind of curious, like, and you're like, so you have a dog or you have a pet that's not behaving or you don't know what to do. And your first thought is something's wrong with this dog or, and we go to the problem. And I'm curious what you found there. Like, how has coaching, I want to look at this two ways with your business, right? How has coaching helped you as a dog trainer? I mean, let's go there first. How has that helped you?
Okay, so we have a joke among trainers, which is that, the dogs are easy to train. It's the people that are difficult.
I
And
agree.
yeah. And so some trainers, board and train, they bring the dog in, they do most of the training, and then they just transfer it on. I don't believe so much in that method. What I'm really doing is coaching the people, teaching them certain techniques, helping them to work with their dog so that they have those techniques and those strategies for a lifetime. And it's not only the techniques, it's so much more behind that. It's the communication, it's the bond, it's the dance. We talk about dancing in coaching, and
Yes, we do.
dog training, and being an effective team with your dog, for me, is a dance.
And 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 here's what that sparks for me. I imagine that this is just my imagining. You tell me how this lands, that the people come in and when you really do that, there's this wonderful thing that happens with their dog, but there's also something that happens for them.
Right. So, for example, you get people who might be overly strict and, not allowing their dog to be a dog. And so then, yeah, right. So
That's so
yeah,
funny.
that happens a lot. And I found
Okay.
I lived outside the US for a long time.
Mhm.
I had a business outside the US and Mexico for a long time. And now I'm building my business in the US. And I found that here in the US, people are much more strict with their dogs. They want their dogs to be little soldiers.
Mhm.
And I don't believe in that so much. We got to let dogs be dogs and
Well,
have their essence. And so
yes.
that is a real challenge for people, for
Mm.
perfectionists,
Mm.
for people that just want to be really structured all the time, who want to control. There are a lot of us, myself included, who are kind of control freaks. And it's just part of human nature that we
It
get,
absolutely
kind of
is.
upset if we're not in control.
Yes.
And so it's really hard to let dogs be dogs. So when I work with people and I can help them to see that, and, well, what's in the way for you of just letting your dog sniff on a walk, or walk around this field, or play with this other dog, or walk out the door once you've said it's okay to go in front of you instead of you having to always, be the dominant one.
And
So,
do
yeah,
you find that, because as you're talking, it's like so much of what you're saying, Judy, relates to so many other areas of a person's life. Because
yes.
I know for me, you talk about control. I like to be in control of a lot of things. And I just wonder, have you found that when it's almost like there's a paradox isn't quite the right word, but people come in because they care about their pets. And sometimes there's caring about something that brings us to a new awareness about ourselves.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like, for example, a lot of people get frustrated because they want to get their own exercise with their
Oh,
dogs.
right.
And what does a dog most want to do on a walk? Sniff,
Run around, sniff, get
meander,
the thing. Yeah.
take his time, right?
Mm,
And that's how dogs learn about the world, is through their nose. And people want to just, jog or move along really quickly and rush their dogs. And so it's like that's where the mindfulness comes in. And
got
that's
it.
that's one of the biggest lessons that our dogs can teach us, our animals in general,
Mm-hmm.
being in the here and now and allowing for them to be dogs and being with them, accompanying them in something that they really enjoy.
And
And
how
that's
does
what
that
helps to build the bond too, more
and,
more.
and how does that I love that with the dogs, but again, I'm so curious. Have you had people noticing, or the more you do the coaching, and this is where I want to go next, like, and maybe I'll just go there right now. When you imagine really bringing the coaching in fully to your business, like that feels like there's going to be that piece. That's your vision, right? Is that people who are seeking coaching
Yeah,
might be more attracted to it because they care about their pets and they want to learn that way.
right. Well, it's asking the question. So before I got my coach training, I would go in as more of an expert
Right.
and
Of course.
yeah, right. And more of a consultant. I've got the knowledge. I'm going to come tell you what to do. And now, from the very get-go, in fact, before I actually meet people in person, I send them a questionnaire to get a lot of basic information. And the very last question on that questionnaire is, how do you envision your life with your dog?
Mm.
And so that's, people have to stop and think, because everyone has different ideas about how they want their dog to behave, what they want to be able to do with their dog. Maybe it's just a single person, maybe it's a family, maybe they want to travel, maybe they want an emotional support dog, maybe they want a dog to protect them. There's lots of different things.
Wow. I get that. So it's a very, I love this. So it's a very different context that you're setting for them. We would think of this as a coaching context,
Yeah,
right? Where we want
yeah,
people to vision and what do you really want and how do you want it to be, as opposed to this is a problem we're going to solve.
exactly. And I spent a
Yeah.
lot of time in the first session. It's a long session,
Hmm.
kind of an intake session, but I also spend a lot of time observing. So I've kind of got my antennas out like you do in coaching. You got
Yeah,
your,
right.
different levels of listening, and I'm in that third level listening mode and observing what's going on around me and really being open to what the dog's feeling, what the person is feeling, what their communication is all about, and just taking it in. And then at the appropriate moments, being able to ask more directed questions about, does your dog always do this? And what would it be like, if he had a bed right here instead of just being
Mm.
jumping up on you all the time? It just depends on the situation, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but those different levels of listening that we talk about in coaching
Yeah.
are really important.
I hear curiosity too,
Lots.
right? Right. Just actually getting curious instead of judging and, coming out with all the wrongdoing. Very. very different. And I can imagine so much more effective
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
and the
pet
not
owners.
judging
Yeah.
is super important because I know that people really love their dogs. They love their dogs for many different reasons. And just like we love people for many different reasons, sometimes it can be a little bit, the reasons, but people really love their dogs and they
Sure. Yeah,
want
they
the
do.
best for their dogs. And sometimes they just don't know how to get there.
Well, you get all these things you're saying, and sometimes people want the best for themselves and they
Yeah,
don't know how to get there.
right.
So what I hear you offering, and for the coaches listening, like listen, tune into this piece because what Judy is talking about here, there's this passion. I hear your passion and I hear your knowledge. You have knowledge, you have passion for the way that dogs and people interact and engage. There's this channel there's something you're opening up for the pet owners, for the dog owners, that it seems like when we look at how your coaching business is going to evolve, that this could be what you're known for.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the dot I want to connect here for you and for others. It's like pay attention because hey, you're bringing it in, but actually there are people out there who want to grow and expand themselves, but they're caring more, like you can bring them in through their caring about their pet because they love their pet. That's going to motivate them, right? Just like we can get motivated in so many other things, like I want to lose weight or I want to get more fit or I want to
Right.
get healthier. And then but you actually want to do it in a whole person way. You want to do it in a, so what I see, Judy, for you is that this is something that a word that could spread about this, that there actually is a way that we people can become, I don't know, better people. I'm going to say
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
fulfilled when we actually learn how to be with a pet, that
It,
actually it changes the pet's experience, but it also changes our relationship with ourselves.
yeah. I mean, it's like any relationship, really.
Yeah.
When you are in relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or a colleague or whoever, then, things are reflected back and you have interactions and things might touch on you or set you off, trigger you, whatever. And with an animal, the difference is that you have to be much more attuned to the communication because it's not the same kind of communication that we're used to.
Oh, interesting.
And so that brings in all the
Yes.
intuition. It brings in
Right.
observation. It brings you more into the here and now because you have to focus on different things in order to understand what's going on, that back and forth. And there's so much to be learned there about ourselves as well. I mean, how am I perceiving this animal? Let me give you an example.
Okay,
I've
great.
been, well, for a while now, my life has been a little crazy because I've been going through this transition of getting settled again in the US. And sometimes I'm just buzzing about the house and doing my things, and my dogs are, quietly lying. I have two dogs and a cat, and they're quietly lying on their beds and just observing me. Animals observe us all the time. They know so much about us.
So good that they don't talk human
Yes.
talk. The things they
And
can tell.
sometimes I just stop and I look and I think, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, just slow down. Just
Oh, nice.
hang in there. You're
Mhm.
not going to fall off the edge of the planet if you do things a little slower and more mindfully. I mean, here I am talking about sharing mindfulness techniques with my clients. Why? Because it's something I want to deepen
Isn't
in
that
myself.
isn't that always the case? And what such a beautiful symmetry I see there with the training and the coaching of helping pet owners, but to also learn from their pets. That's kind of the circle I see with really bringing coaching into your business, is
Can I
that
give
you're
you
going to bring
another example?
one more, and then I
Yeah,
want to
one more.
dive down into some other areas. I want to
Okay, one
spark
more
some
is a
interest.
person that I've been working with for a while now, about 6 months,
Mm,
because like many dogs that were pandemic puppies, they didn't get proper socialization, and they spent too much time with their owners and now are
Ah,
experiencing
makes sense.
separation issues.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this person is kind of my ideal client, and she has been very open to working on, every now and then we stop and I say, can I coach you for a few minutes? And yes.
Oh,
And so
okay. Okay.
great. But we were talking about her anxiety and the dog's anxiety.
Mhm.
And there's this constant going back and forth. And how is she passing her anxiety to the dog, and the dog passing its anxiety to her? And what can be done in order to what we call co-regulate, to like
Oh,
really get into
nice.
sort of an energetic harmony
Mm,
and both be okay.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I love that. It just warms my heart to kind of imagine, your skills, the coaching, bringing that in, what that gives to both of them.
Hmm.
So I want to switch gears here a little, or kind of segue, because I was thinking about this before the show. And one of the real, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk to Judy, because I find all of this so interesting. All of it just fascinates me, how we can bring, how I actually have an opinion that coaching can work very well with another modality, not just like,
Hmm.
okay, and
Yeah.
maybe you can make it work. It's like, so I brainstormed with myself. I do that sometimes. And I want to brainstorm with you. I brainstorm like all the ways I have known that I have seen coaches combine one business with another very,
Mm.
very well. And I remembered when I was in coach training, there was a dentist going through coach training. And I was so surprised, because I was like, what was that have to do with coaching? And he's like, are you kidding me? He's a lot of what you're saying resonated. He's like, I have to communicate with people all day long. What if I could actually help them to be relaxed, to be mindful? What if I could
Mm.
teach them about how to take care of their teeth without being the big scary bossy dentist, or whatever? So I kind of got that it can be like that. I have a client who is a veterinarian, and this is how these things can be. So she uses her coaching for her vet clients, a lot like you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then she also coaches other veterinarians.
Mhm.
Right? It can kind of go like that. And she had her niche got really narrow. It's like you can take it and combine it. And then that's where I see so much potential, because when I look at your business, I think, oh, it can be what you're talking about, but then you could also coach other dog trainers, or you could do a program where people did, there's kind of a coaching program. So I'm curious, let's see if we can popcorn just for fun, kind of other professions or businesses we imagine would go well with coaching.
Uh, well, I just went to a retreat. It was sort of a coaching retreat, but for people who advise other people in
Hmm.
all different capacities. So financial advisors. That would be
Financial,
one.
oh my gosh, financial advisors is a great one. It's a
Yeah.
great one. I actually see that working really, really well.
Yeah.
There's nature. It's not actually another business, but I have people who I work with who they love nature. Like that's
Mhm.
their goal. They love hiking, they love mountain climbing, or they love, and they take people, they actually literally coach people. So
Yeah.
again, it can be combining. It can coach people who actually want to get out more in nature. I have a client who she has an exercise program.
Yes.
And a lot like what you're talking about, Judy, she's like, so much of exercise is, traditionally you're doing it wrong. There's a way you're supposed to be doing it. And she has combined coaching. So she brings it in. She coaches them on, again, it relates a lot to how you were talking about their body and how they want to be and how they imagine it. It's a whole different thing.
I think part of what's at the crux of this that's really important for me, for other coaches to hear, is that you can bring a certain amount of expertise, but you've only got half the picture. And it's like when you go to the doctor, right? The doctor is the expert on the medical issues, but you're the expert on your own body.
That's right.
And it's the same thing here for me with dog training. People live with their dogs in and out. They know more about their dogs than I do. but I
Right.
have certain things that I can offer. So we have to work together. We have to form a partnership. And that's where you can take, I think, almost anything.
Almost anything. So I have sports, yoga, dance, massage, politics, the Enneagram, hairstylist, a retail business, a role in an organization. Those are the things I came up with.
Totally.
All of
Yeah.
those things and bring coaching into it. The politics was a fun one for me, right?
So needed.
Oh my
So
gosh.
needed. Oh my
So
gosh.
so this is kind of, it's actually a person who's running for office. And but finding the coach, like actually combining being a coach so that this person can talk to the again, I love all the things that you brought in because listen, get curious, have people imagine how it really could be as opposed to problem solving.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I was imagining this even, people might think retail, like how would that? But think about retail is we're all okay, here we go. It's like we're all really in the people business. Even though you have pets, like there's a connection.
Yeah.
We're really talking about connecting with people.
Hmm.
And what I want coaches to know is that this can be a doorway for you in your coaching business. It can be a doorway. It's not to discount coaching or say that life coaching in and of itself isn't a fabulous thing, but when you combine it and if you combine it with something else, it can actually be a doorway for people who would not normally or it wouldn't have come to their attention, but
Yeah.
they will now get the benefit of your coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. And, retail or any kind of sales
Yes, sales, right?
is, and including selling your own coaching business. If
That's
you do
right.
it in a coachy way, it comes off completely different. Selling a product, it's for me, and I,
Mm.
I worked in my parents' business when I was young. So it's finding the right match,
That's where you
finding the right
started this
match.
too. That's where you started. You were like, here, when you imagine your ideal clients, it's finding your ideal match and bringing, this is the other thing I see because so often the coaches I work with on their business discount all they know and all they love. And they think they've got to leave that all behind.
Hmm.
But it's like, no, 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 bring it all in. It can all work together.
Yeah.
I have I have a friend of mine she's been a coach for a while and she is now learning to be a tattoo artist,
Oh,
right? And there is this combination. I've actually discovered that she's going to be bringing actually having people imagine right what it is that they want, like they most want for this tattoo on their body, bringing in more of that whole picture and what do they want it to say and what do they want to
yeah.
express. And here's the thing I want to put in. I think it's important. I'll be curious about how you see this, Judy. Like, what are the boundaries that, if there are boundaries, that we would need to make sure we put in place when we're combining coaching with another business?
Well, for example, as I said, with this one client I had, I ask her open-ended questions a lot, but
Mhm.
if we're really going to start coaching, I always say, may I coach you for a few minutes about
Yes,
this? Are you willing to go
that's
there?
great. That's great. So I think there's a design is what I get from that. There's a design we do. If we're
Yeah.
going to bring coaching into anything, we design it. We say to the people like that, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And then I also am going to bring coaching things in. And I love that, Judy. It's very, very simple. It can
Yeah.
be, can I coach you now? Or this is where I'm going to put my coach hat on, or I'm going to take my coach hat off.
Yeah.
Or, we can just totally design it so that we're not we're not confusing people
Hmm.
and we're not kind of sneaking the coaching in or consulting people and having them think that it's coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been
Exactly.
such a great
Yeah.
conversation, Judy. And
Yeah.
I need to bring it to a close. So we have this that goes along with all my podcasts, but tell people how they can find you, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a website. It's my business is called Holistic Dog Training, and I'm in business with my
Ooh,
partner, my life partner.
I love that.
And our website is holisticdogtrainers.com.
Mm, Mm.
So there's a contact sheet and people can look me up
Okay,
there. It's,
great.
yeah, I'd
Good.
love to hear from
I
folks.
highly recommend if you find yourself, if you when Judy was talking about her ideal clients, if that's you, and just no matter where you live on this planet, you can connect with Judy. Go to her website, contact her, because you can see that it would be like a fabulous experience to
Aw,
get Judy, the coach, as well as what she knows about dogs.
thank you, Kat. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much for joining me. It's been so much fun.
Yes, likewise. So much fun. Thank you for having me.